Hey, welcome back to the Political Matrix News. Rob Milford, greetings from Orlando. We're doing this almost election eve. It is the 29th of October. A week from now, we'll be chewing our fingernails, maybe getting ready to pop a bottle of champagne or smoke a big fat cigar, or all of the above. Those are how election nights go in this country. As divided as we are, one hopes that we will actually see a verdict by the American people. Even it may be the small hours. Actually, small hours would be 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock Eastern when the polls finally close in California.
Exactly.
Maybe that's when it'll happen. We'll see. Greg, Scott Miller is joining us from Pensacola. Greg Fink joining us from Gainesville, Alachua County. And Greg has got the story of the year when you want to talk about screwy things in an election. Imagine, if you will, in a world, let me do this the way he used to do it, in a world where an election commissioner is up for re-election and then invites people from the outside who are also in the election to come in and count votes. What the hell is going on, Greg Fink? Tell me the story.
It's Alachua County born all over again. I moved here a few years ago to try and make Alachua great again. And I had no idea it was this bad. We have the Office of the Supervisor of Elections is inviting people in for the canvassing board, which is now meeting every day before the election's over, which is interesting because usually canvassing boards meet after the election, not prior to the election. But they are basically counting ballots, making sure they're coming in from the overseas properly, and making sure they're counted,
right,
and making sure everything's on copacetic. So that way, whenever election night happens, they'll hit the ground running with all the counts already done. Yeah, that's our idea. That's our theory. The whole idea, though, is that you're not supposed to be counting anything. You're supposed to take them out of the envelope and put them in a box. Take them out of the envelope and put them in a box, and that's it. Just leave them in the box. And then whenever you start ringing them through the machine, you start tabulating them on the night of the election. You don't tabulate them early. I've talked to other election supervisors around the state to see if this is normal. They said if they're get behind, they do like to go ahead and get them pre-counted in case something happens and not the election. However, they all promise not to tell anybody. And the whole idea, which I thought was comical, and when I heard that, but the whole idea here in Alachua County is that they're actually bringing people in, and people are going out of the meetings, although they sign affidavits. But I've heard rumors. I'm not going to identify the people or put them in these, heard of their affidavit that they might have signed. But they have been telling people how the referendum is looking, or how the election for the president is looking, or how the election for the supervisor of elections is looking. And they're basically telling me, how many people have turned out, how heavy the Democrat turnout is, how heavy the Republican turnout, what precincts are heavy, what precincts are light, so on and so forth. And the whole idea that they're even given that information is illegal. Totally.
Well, hold on now. Turnout is legal, and we had to make an important distinction.
Turnout is legal.
Yeah. How many voters from which precinct and of what type of voters from each precinct are showing up is perfectly legal. That information has been out.
But only to the candidate.
Wait, time, guys. Yeah, wait a minute. Whoa. Everybody, all of the national hosts, Hannity and the other two Gerbers who replaced Limbaugh, I just cannot remember their names for some reason. I know what it was. I lost the competition for that gig. But they're all saying vote early, because if you vote early, then the party knows that you have voted. Therefore, you will not get any more mailers. You will not get any phone calls. You will not get any canvassing. Nobody will knock on your door. So that's a good thing. What?
But the only people who are able to get that information are the candidates themselves, not the public.
The candidates' party.
Right. But what Rob's saying is that if you do this, then you the elections office will communicate with the various campaigns and tell them that you've already voted. They're wasting their time giving contacting. I mean, and that's information that can be derived from the outside of the envelope. I got envelope with John Smith's name on it, so he's off the list. I don't know how John Smith voted yet, but I know that he has voted, and that's the information that is legal to distribute.
Right. And
when I
what's
was in
happening at
line
these meetings,
yesterday, when I was in line at Osceola County yesterday, voting, they basically literally checked my name off the list. Here's my driver's license. Is this information correct? Your address? Yep, that's it. And here's your ballot. So they knew that I was voting. They don't know which ballot I put in the machine and how many ballots I put in the machine, but I did the best I could.
Yeah, the knowledge of the ballot is fine. What's on the ballot, like if, say, you voted for the mayor and the mayor is looking good or not, or they voted for a ballot and the ballot's looking good or not, and the contents of the ballot, that's what is not public. And that is what is public in these canvassing board meetings.
In fact, I want to read something from the Florida statutes, from the 2024 Florida statutes. All right.
Okay.
All right. Any supervisor, deputy supervisor, canvassing board member, election board member, or election employee who releases the results of a canvassing or processing of vote by mail ballots prior to the closing of the polls in that county on election day commits a felony of the 3rd degree. Okay. They're not joking. You're not supposed to release the information. It's risky to tabulate them to begin with. It's not technically illegal to tabulate them, but it's incredibly risky because, suddenly you have people in your office that know something. They're in the know, and everyone that they know wants to know. I don't care if it's the supervisor himself. Everyone wants to be that cool kid that knows. That's why you don't tabulate them, because someone's going to slip.
And then
when they do, they've committed a 3rd degree felony.
Now, when they're duplicating the ballots, they're actually duplicating them here in Alachua County.
That's another one.
Screenshotting them and duplicating them.
Duplicate what? Whoa. Why would they be duplicating them or screenshotting them? What?
I don't have an answer on that yet. I'm still waiting on that.
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. So as much as I want to say, just to simply say that this is highly illegal, I'm not even trying to ascribe any nefarious intent to it. Maybe they do want to be they have some well-intentioned reason for doing it, but that doesn't change the fact that it's illegal.
Yes. And on top of that, they have a nefarious history with being investigated. They had some people who are registering voters in a prison. And so they have some investigations about that happened in the last 2 years. This has all happened in the last term of the current election supervisor, Kim Barton. So it's very interesting.
Well, it's the sort of thing. This is the thing that infuriates me the most. Every time over the last 4 years, I've had to hear people talk about, well, there's no evidence. There's zero evidence of election interference. Zero evidence of improper election. There is evidence every single year, and there has been since we started electing people.
Maybe
that there is zero means that you either don't know or you don't want to know.
Maybe it's election malfeasance.
It is a fact.
It was election malfeasance.
Whatever it is, I just don't want to say. Yeah. I mean, like I say, it's hard for people to wrap their head around. People are going to want to say, well, you're just oppose her because she's a Democrat, and that's not true. As long as people are engaged in honest elections, I may or may not agree with other politics, but let me tell you, the only politics you should have as the supervisor of elections is a clean and honest election. So that should be universal.
It
should be. Yeah,
it should be.
Should be.
But but when we start coming up with all of these wacky-do little ways to I don't know. You just can't make up the rules as you go along. You just and that's what that's what this supervisor is doing now. Like I said, I'm not going to say she's trying to affect anything. I don't think she's trying to do anything but be the cool kid, honestly. But that doesn't but that doesn't make it right.
I mean, if you want to go beyond what just that situation is, we have right now, the early voting has been going on for a week and a half. We have a lot of the VR systems supposedly going down, and they said it was a statewide issue. I checked, and I couldn't find it being on statewide news anywhere. But they're saying it was all done statewide, and I have not found that to be true yet. And I still, they might be right, but they're basically having a lot of people vote provisional ballots. And those are usually the worst ways of voting because they're the worst ways of, being at the top of the list for getting counted on election day. And so, it's a mess this election office in Alachua County. Totally.
Yeah, I don't know what their theory is there. I mean, I don't know how they justify it, but I mean, and you and I have been kind of watching this supervisor for a while, and there's some some things that we found questionable.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, because she has an opponent in that race,
Exactly.
and her opponent had a hell of a time trying to even get on the ballot.
Yeah, she didn't want to let her on the ballot. I mean, when she came up with the $10,000, she's like, "Where'd you steal it from?" Almost. You like to look at on her face because she took every single methodology away for her to get on the ballot without paying the $10,000 fee. I mean, she basically all the petitions that were legal in any other election for any other candidate were all deemed non legal for Judith Jensen. And Judith Jensen is the one who's running against Kim Bartson, who's actually the current election supervisor in Alachua County. And
Well,
so
it's real suspect that a signature that would pass to allow someone to actually vote would not be deemed a signature that was valid for someone to sign a petition.
well, the way it looks like the way they do their signature verification for voting, they look at all your voting signatures and they average it out with all of them. Like if you voted 10 or 20 times. And for a petition card, then they look at your initial one. So basically, if you're 85 years old, which Judith had a lot of these, people in their 70s and 80s, and they registered to vote 50 years ago. And so the signature now, when they're shaking and they have Parkinson's or they have the trembles, or with 85 years old, it's supposed to be identical to the signature they had when they were 35. And that's just not reality.
Let me tell you something. My signature isn't the same as it was when I was 35.
I mean, I'm 50 years old, and that's basically from when I was born. And so the whole reality here is none. And that's the way that she's been handling her office. And this is, it would be one thing if there were other candidates going on. And she was tough on other Democratic candidates and Republican candidates as well. But this is her opponent. And so she's done everything she could to make sure her opponent, suffered and did not make the ballot. And now that this went deep into the election, we actually had another call today about some of the ballots being wrong, we're still trying to verify to make sure there's more people than just one or two that got the wrong ballot in their district. But right now we have a case here to where somebody who lives in District 3 got a ballot for people that live in District 4, got a ballot for somebody who lives in District 3. And they're not supposed to be voting for those people running. And so that's very interesting.
Well, the bottom line is they can only legally toss those ballots out.
Yeah.
What's the remedy?
Republican votes.
What's the remedy? How are you going to prove who got the wrong ballot?
Exactly. You just have to invalidate the entire ballot.
Because now that they've taken them out of the envelope and put them in and tabulated them, then they're mixed in with a whole bunch of other ballots that you also can't identify.
Right. And so the whole situation here, like Rob was saying, in Alachua County is very, very bizarre. And hopefully the Democrats are not using this as their methodology of how they're going to be handling other Democrat election offices throughout the country. Because if it is, it's really reminiscent to how they treated it 4 years ago, probably.
Yeah, in 2020 for sure.
Yeah. How you doing, Rob?
Under the circumstances, not bad. Not bad. I got to tell you, my girlfriend does not like Laura Ingraham. And I was trying to get a picture of the Kamala Harris rally going on in Washington, thinking Laura would have a few moments of that. And she jumped up and down and said, I will not watch that woman. I hate that woman. Okay, fine. Let's go to CNN. And they put their polling guy on with the colored map. Greg, CNN has decided that Florida is a toss-up state in voting for the president. Is that
no? It's not.
Huh?
No. Okay. CNN is out to lunch because yesterday Florida was up 9 points to 8 points for Trump, at least 4 different polls. And according to Florida, North Florida poll last week, he was up 10 points. It is not a toss-up state for Trump. There's zero. I'm right now in several counties, the Democrats are not having the excitement level that they wanted in Florida. And they are not turning out to the level of they should be for a presidential cycle. In fact, here in Central Florida, they're right around between 25 and 30% behind of where they were 4 years ago.
Well, let me give you a CNN polling story that I feel basically tells the story of what CNN considers important. About six years ago, when Ron DeSantis was first running for governor, was it 6 years ago?
Yep.
Shoot,
It was 8 years
like,
ago.
yeah, something like that. Anyway, so the national media comes rolling through my hometown, and frankly, I step out of my office, which was above, one of the local restaurants on the waterfront, and there was a CNN reporter there doing a stand-up. So I go I go sit there and watch him, and I talk to the producer, and I say, a good angle for your story might be to talk to local polling companies and see what their take on this is. Trying to insert myself into this story. And this woman looked straight at me and said, "We have our own pollster." I said, "Yeah, but your pollsters are usually wrong, and we have a long-standing, tradition in Florida of being well within the margin of error on our polls." And she said, deadpan serious, "But our pollster's a woman." And in my mind, that tells you what CNN's focus is.
That was DEI back in 2018.
Yeah.
Screw the merits.
What did Elon call that? Elon called it did not. Oh shoot, I forget now. He said,
I'm going to share this on screen here. We got all these Florida polls right now. Trump is ahead by 9, 9, and 12. Axie votes, he's ahead by 12. Florida Atlantic University is ahead by 9. And they actually did 2 different polls for Florida Atlantic, FAU.
It's pretty clear right now that the campaign is giving up. Scaramucci, Tony Scaramucci was sitting there crowing about how Trump was going to lose, and I'm like, dude, because apparently someone, there's a rumor going out about the Democrats cutting their ad buy in Pennsylvania. And he says, that's not true. They increased their ad buy by 2 million. And I said, you're right, Scaramucci. That's what they did. They increased it by 2 million because heaven forbid they should lose out on the commission from that ad revenue. Because they don't care if the ad's going to work or not. They just want to make sure they get their commission.
If you look at this poll here about Scott, for Rick Scott to be this far ahead in any election in his history is a landslide for Florida's Republican Party. He's 4 points ahead in 2 different polls from FAU, and 10 points ahead in the Axie vote. I mean, he's used to winning by half a point or less. Okay, and for him, this is a landslide. I mean, no, Florida is not in play for any Democrat national apparatus whatsoever. And I'll eat my words if I have to, but I don't think I will.
The consensus I'm seeing today is that it's going to be the Republicans are going to sweep the Dems in the House, Senate, and White House.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a full sweep, just like the Dodgers are doing to the Yankees right now. I think whether they're winning 3-0 or 2-0 or something right now.
Yeah,
the Dodgers are to the Yankees. So I think it's going to be that kind of sweep here with the Republican Party. The Democrats are losing steam. Whenever you have to beg for the minority vote as badly as they're begging for it. I mean, Barack Obama was historically a historic figure running for president, a black male. Well, once again, he was also mixed black. He was not, so he wasn't, 100% African American. He was also from a mixed family as well, just like Kamala is, or Kamala, whatever, is from a mixed family. And so, but she's actually African American woman. It should just be almost as historic as Barack, and they're having to beg.
Now, Greg, you got to blow that argument. That argument doesn't work anymore. She was only because and the color skin. That's the only reason. Huh?
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I think you're breaking up there. But yeah, so I mean, the whole historical approach is non-existent for her. She had to beg Beyonce. Beyonce charged her $2 million for the speech. We're going to charge her $10 million for the performance. She did it for Hillary for free, probably. You know?
Oh, I thought that was so funny. I just couldn't stop laughing about it.
I mean, it's a very interesting year for the election, by far.
It has been a roller coaster, but I'm going to be glad to see it over with.
Yeah, because now we got the governor of Florida race coming up next. We have Matt Gaetz who's going to be running for governor, along with Ashley Moody. Ashley Moody's job should be to arrest Matt Gaetz. So she's the attorney general. She should arrest Matt Gaetz for a campaign move. That'd pretty cool, actually. You know, just go ahead and file charges on him at the state level. And
well, apparently that's the thing you do, right?
They can basically pick up on the law and order governor. I'm going to go ahead and arrest this pedophile right here, allegedly.
Yeah.
But no, she won't do that. But I mean, we have a lot of people here running for office here for the governor's race. It's going to make Florida be a big circus again. And I was actually looking at a lot of history, a lot of vote turnouts around the state. I did not know that Democrats around the state actually turn out more in a lot of different areas for the off-cycle elections, like governor and the constitutional officers, than they do for the presidential side, which I thought was unique and weird. But, you know, it's the data that we have. So, I mean, you know, you guys tell us if the data is wrong. I mean, everybody, all the Democrats keep saying the data is pure, elections are perfect, nothing's ever wrong. And so by y'all's data, that's kind of weird. But what do I know?
Okay. On that happy thought, the men with more political experience in Florida than governors and senators and wannabes say, what do we know? I think that sums it up pretty well.
What do
This
we
is the
know?
political news. Your likes, your subscriptions, which are free from now until perpetuity. There's something else. Oh, share with somebody you love, or share with somebody you go, oh man, I'm really going to get them with this. Do
And why
all
do we
those
need
things.
to do that?
And don't forget, our political matrix swag is available now, $19.95 for these beautiful 20-ounce thermal mugs. I've had ice in here. Oh, it evaporated. I put ice in here 2 weeks ago. It's now evaporated, but guaranteed. Available now. As we said, only $29.95 at thepoliticalmatrixnews.com. On behalf of Greg Fink and Scott Miller, I'm Rob Milford in Orlando. And if you haven't voted yet, go ahead and vote. And if you've already voted, go vote again, because who knows what the hell we can get away with. Good night from the Political Matrix News.